What's been your biggest struggle with SEO and how did you overcome it? I'll do mine first because I feel like Nick will end up talking for like 20 minutes on this. I don't know.
I have no weakness. I have no struggle.
God, I kind of wish I was like
Pure
interviewing for
passion.
jobs just so I could give cool answers like that.
Yeah, right. Like, yeah, be real cocky about it. I've never been cocky at an interview, but I think, or well, like how it is on Silicon Valley, where when they get the buzz. Anyhow, yeah.
Yeah, so my answer in our Facebook group was that, and I think Nick will probably maybe I'll have a different answer for what my greatest weakness is, but what I feel is my greatest weakness is my desire to want to do everything myself. I want things to be a certain way, and uh, basically when you're not doing it yourself, it's never exactly how you want it, right? And it's something I still struggle with constantly. And the best way to overcome it is just to realize that basically you're not using your time efficiently. You're doing tasks that are below what essentially your pay grade is. Is it's just not an efficient use of time. You need to be doing higher level tasks rather than tasks that you could be able to outsource for a lower pay than what your value is to the company. But yeah, other than realizing it, some things that have helped me kind of overcome that. Um, First of all, is hiring the right people. You need to get your hiring process down so that you're getting the right people for the whatever task that you're doing. Um, and yeah, I mean that's just step one, getting off to the right foot. It's kind of like doing keyword research, right? If you don't start with the right person in the first place, then hiring the wrong people can just lead you to a big headache. Someone who's doesn't really fill the position like you had hoped for, and whatever, it just can cause a lot of problems. Next up would be developing your SOPs, your operating procedures, like the basically the list of how they are supposed to accomplish certain tasks. Really nailing those down so that they're easy to follow, that they are conclusive, right? That they really cover every aspect of the procedure, and you just want to be able to make it so that if you were to lose that person or you had to hire a new person, that it should be no big deal for them to step into the role and to be able to start operating in that role. And then third, of course, would be training, which kind of goes along with the SOP, but just making sure they're being trained correctly. But even then, you have to realize that even with your hiring the right person, and even with the most amazing SOP, and even with the most amazing training, they're still not going to do the job exactly how you would do it. And at the end of the day, if you hired the right person and they are actually capable of this position, they could end up not doing it maybe exactly how you want it, but they could even bring new things to the table, right? Things that you're stuck in your own way and you want to get them done in a certain way, but maybe that's not the really the end of maybe that's not the end all be all. Maybe what they bring to the table works just as well, or accomplishes the goal even better in some cases. Um, so yeah, I mean, you do all you can to to try to make sure things get done the way you want them to, but then you have to also realize that it's never going to be exact, and that that's probably okay. But yeah, it's something
Like a chapter out of Ray Dalio.
I think I have that. I think I have one of his books downloaded. Principles. Yeah, I think it's
Principles.
Principles. I don't
Yeah.
think I've read it though. Um,
I thought you'd read a decent amount of it, at least gone through
the
some of
name.
it, because I remember you were quoting it for a while.
Oh, you're right.
It's about the meritocracy of
Well,
the company and getting people to be,
I probably
open with one another in the
I probably
organization.
read
It's
like
a
the
good
first
book.
part of it and then got bored or something. So it happens to me with a
Yeah,
lot of
it's
books.
it's dense and heavy, and if you're not into, I mean, it's not like self-help, right? It's business focused, but yeah, it can be dry reading unless you're
Yeah.
like in the mood for
Um, So yeah, what about you? What's been your biggest struggle with SEO and how did you overcome it or how are you trying to overcome it?
I feel like it probably kind of ties in a bit to what you're talking about. But basically, like my ability to really get 100% organized and focused has been very hard over the years. And what I mean by that is, you start on this path as an entrepreneur where like you think you have an idea of what you're going to build, but then it's spider webs and it's out of control very quickly. And you've got to wear a lot of hats and learn a lot of things. And before you know it, you're spread thin, you're limited on time, and you're focusing your energy on too many places. So you kind of have to like tighten that up. And with SEO, once you really find recipes to success, then it's easy to eat with your eyes and conceptualize all sorts of different avenues you could take to make money. And if you don't stay focused, if you do chase the proverbial carrots, so to speak, you're going to run into kind of like they end up feeling like dead ends, and the only thing you can do at that point in time is kind of clip the dead weight and then refocus your energy. And I think every couple of years you sort of have to do that if you're managing your own business, unless you're the type of person that just like is very good at staying hyper focused on one particular thing. But like, just in all openness, it's like, I had 4 companies last year. I only have 2 companies this year. And that's a 150% good thing. Last year was a huge year of growth, as well as clipping things that weren't going to keep up with that growth. And so, kind of learning how to do that, learning where to focus time and energy. Because, like Chris, a lot of times, um, I'll be doing a job that, like, he's probably really not even aware what the fuck I'm doing. I'm just back in like Excel sheets crunching either numbers or data or going through it's really just like a lot of times long and boring auditing kind of jobs, but they take up a decent amount of time, and I've learned now to package them into this is what I'm doing now. When I'm done with this task, I will move on to the next big task, right? But I don't mix and match. Like one day I'm not going to work on something and then the next day work on something else. Otherwise, you'll find yourself in
So
disarray. So
basically
it's
task
here's my
management.
task. Yeah, imagine like there's a scrum board. Doesn't matter what the timeline is, but yeah, you're doing one thing at a time to completion before you move
So what do
forward.
you do you is there anything you use to basically manage your tasks or your workflow or things like that? Like
I'm a very simple man. So I like Trello.
okay.
I get the thought, I put it in Trello. I've got different priority lists really. And then I've got a daily value or a weekly value where I'll shift things into and I'll just give them priority and that's what I'll be focusing on.
Yeah, I just use
And then you're constantly putting shit in
I
there.
use Apple Calendar, but I
Yeah,
use it more like a to-do list.
Chris is far more organized than I am as far as yeah, your to-do list is extremely organized. Mine's more it's like a bunch of things that I just filter through and sort of like it's like filtering rocks. Like some of them are bigger and hold more weight, and that's typically like where I try and focus on.
But yeah, you're right. That I feel like that's one thing I'm actually pretty decent at is making lists and then sorting them by like to basically prioritize what needs to come next.
Hmm.
Um, what's hard for me a lot of times is like just like getting started on something I really don't want to get started on. Um,
That's a commonality. I think not only in SEO, but in anybody that
yeah,
works digital. Because I know coders, every coder I've ever dealt with, I'm late because, I just and I don't feel good, and it's just like, yeah, I get it, dude. Working from home on a computer, it can be hard to want to do this mundane activity, and that's a lot of the times just getting started on some of this stuff is one of the hardest things to
Yeah.
do.
But
Um,
really,
I,
it's just the first step. Because like usually once I get the first
mhm.
step, I'm like, all
And
right,
once
I'm
you get
doing the
in, it's
thing,
easy.
whatever.
Mhm. Yeah, yeah, it's interesting. Um, and I don't, yeah, I think it's really common.
But yeah, if any of you guys have if anyone listening or whatever or watching the video has any suggestions for like task management or like workflow management or anything like that, I'd be happy to hear them because I've actually been looking for like any alternatives to what I'm doing for a while. I just can't find anything better because I like it to be on a calendar, but I feel like it just doesn't have like a ton of functionality for the Apple calendars or whatever. But I haven't found anything else that just nearly does exactly what I'm looking for. But yeah, if anyone's got any good ideas, go ahead and leave us a comment or whatever. Hey everybody, thanks for watching. Be sure to check the description below for links to our blog for more info on this topic, along with a bunch of other cool stuff like case studies, our Facebook community, and our link building services. And like always, remember to like, comment, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell if you enjoyed the video. Thanks and happy ranking.